episode 3 of GIIS SMART webinar series, Voices and Choices, Explore, Adapt, Impact. An engaging series to share the happenings in the field of digital pedagogy at our campus, where we meet pioneers from edtech industry and our own set of educators who are actively involved in shaping the digital citizens of tomorrow. This is Deepika Sodhi from GIIS SMART Campus Singapore, and I will be the host for today's show, Smart Models at GIIS. We have with us our special guests for the day, Ms. Radha Ganesh. Welcome, Ms. Radha.
Thank you.
Ms. Radha is a senior coordinator who also manages the GCII initiatives and quality initiatives at Smart Campus. She comes with 17 years of teaching experience with 13 years at GIIS. She teaches computer science to senior grades handling Cambridge and CBSE curriculum. We also have with us our another special guest of the day, Ms. Ravneet Kaur. Welcome, Ms. Ravneet.
Thank you.
She is Senior Department Head for IT and manages IT, ICT, Design and Technology and Digital Literacy departments at Smart Campus Singapore. She comes with a rich experience of more than 22 years. And after having spent 15 years at GIIS, she is actively involved in actually shaping our citizens and she is actually involved in shaping our students with technological skills, and she comes with an experience of handling all three curricula: Indian National Curriculum, Cambridge Curriculum and IBDP Curriculum. Welcome once
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you.
Welcome. With the recent changes necessitated on us by COVID-19 pandemic, there has been a recent shift and paradigm of education is changing fast. At GIIS, we are striving and gearing to move along with changing educational trends through our digital pedagogical techniques, tools, and our blended learning model. We are gearing and striving towards making our students truly smart. And that is the aim of today's episode. How we are gearing to make our students actually smart. Students who can apply substitution, modification, augmentation, and redefinition with technology. And of course, our own educators are making our students and are actively involved in making our students truly smart. In words of Theed, SMAR is not a guide to integrating technology. It's a guide to integrating ourselves into the digital age. It's the formula for change. And let's hear from our special guests how at Smart Campus we are involved in bringing up and creating smart students. So moving on to our first question from our guest, Ms. Radha.
Right.
I would like to hear from you, how do you think we are preparing our students, or how do you think technology at GIIS is helping to make students smart at middle school and at high school?
I think in the past 2 years, technology is taken the forefront in all fields, including education. And in our school, we've gone with online teaching and Zoom classes right from day one, and we've not missed a single day of school during the circuit breaker or the other breaks that came up because of the pandemic. And that's because of the technology setup that we have already in place in Smart Campus. When it comes to student learning, we have infused technology in all subjects, in all areas.
Right.
And ICT is a part of the curriculum right from grade 1 all the way up to grade 12. From grade 1 to grade 8, it is compulsory for all the students. And from 9 onwards, it becomes an optional subject. But by then, they are so well versed in the use of technology that they are very comfortable in using the tools, in other subjects and other projects and work as well.
Okay. So do you agree, Ms. Ravneet?
Yeah, of course. Means we have actually seen in our school the technological infrastructure is literally unparalleled from anybody. And we know from past 2 years of experience of these new changes in the world, the way we were able to cope up with education in the COVID times, with all this online infrastructure, it was really, really commendable. As ma'am said, we really did not stop for a day, whether it was teachers from school to the students at home or from everybody at home, not even a single day was missed in teaching. From class 1 to class 12, the entire school was going as per the normal timetable, as per the normal classes, and we really gave commendable results in that period also.
Oh, so I like that achieving the outcome also, achieving outcome in terms of results, and I think academic results do speak for that.
Definitely.
That not just students but teachers were kind of without any loss of teaching time geared towards it. So infrastructure comes one aspect, like where you said that, you know, there was no loss of teaching time. But then how did we ensure that our students, you know, derived maximum or optimum benefit of that infrastructure?
I think right at the outset, when the Smart Campus was set up, we decided to give out devices to all our students. So the primary students have iPads, middle school students also have iPads. So from 1 to 8, all kids, everybody has an iPad with them, and 9 and above have MacBooks. And most importantly, every single teacher was given an iPad with an Apple Pencil. So that made the transition to virtual class very, very easy. So
and to help them to actually create lectures, the school did issue iMacs to them to take home and then work and create the content, because content creation also came up as a requirement suddenly for most of the subjects. For the subjects like IT and technology, it was always a mandatory way to teach, but languages and this and that, who had different ways of teaching, were literally forced to get converted to the technological content. They had to create it. So to create that content, the technology was provided. To deliver that content, the technology was provided. And then literally to link them to students, to teachers, it was all technology. And it was all in all totally dependent on the technical stuff we have.
So if as you share, we can say that it was not just the students who were actually being prepared, it was teachers also in the making. I'm sure. Like as a department head, what was your experience when the period began, and how do you think it rolled out?
See, very frankly, every subject always had certain content ready for their teaching, because we all have a guided curriculum and we just plan things accordingly. But most of the time, teachers were still heavily dependent on the classroom teaching. You were still on the board and you were still with the marker, and then there were different content which was on the spot for the teachers. And especially the labs for the other sciences. So all that was literally done away with. So we really had to replace all that stuff with new content being created. So that content creation required content research, required a lot of materials to be referred to. So that literally took a lot of time and patience from the teacher's side. But then yes, they really did a lot of work to ensure that nothing hampers to the student education.
So I think again, as you said, that we had to switch overnight from like, let's say, physical environment to blended or hybrid environment.
Hybrid environment most of the time.
Most of the times.
And then training was provided to the teachers, and more of peer training, you know. So teachers who were comfortable with technology helped the others who were not very comfortable switching over to Zoom. So we had training videos created by our own teachers. They would demonstrate on screen how to use the different features of Zoom, and then we shared it with the entire team. So they could learn from that as well.
So teachers got trained. Then how about students? Because I'm sure it was a paradigm shift for students as well at that moment in time. So were any trainings given to students, or some kind of student handbooks that were shared? Or
we had created training videos for students as well, from their end, how to use the Zoom system, and there was a helpline provided as well. They could contact in case there was a technical difficulty. They could just call up that number and get the issues fixed then and there.
It means definitely students are anyhow a keen learner for us. You know, you just tell them one thing, they explore 10 others on their own. But it was more or less the other way of literally how to keep a cap on them rather than how to teach them. So it was more on the monitoring side also, which the issue came up with, like, okay, if I'm teaching from one side, are you literally learning or listening to me or not? So that kind of checks and things were maintained. Teacher did devise the ways and strategies to point and then communicate to the students. And then since the entire atmosphere of teaching was more in the control of teacher.
Correct.
From our side. Who can join, who cannot, who should now be on video, who should now talk. All this is in hands of teachers. So it was really, really controllable, very easy to work with.
That's fantastic.
And every work, as we know, from the notebooks to the moderations, for everything went online for us.
Right. I mean, that's fantastic. Not just moderating, not just actually physical marking of notebooks, but then moderating that work. Of course, it comes from a department head and from the segment coordinator, who's also involved with quality, maintaining quality at all times. But then it's so fantastic to hear that teachers were trained, students were trained, and we all took everybody on board with the changes that were happening. But then do you think, it's been nearly, I think, more than roughly 2 years now, do you think we've actually moved? Like while integrating technology, we've taught our students, we've taught our teachers to move ahead up the curve, like from substitution to modifying something to augmenting, and then like now kind of redefining. So I would really, really love to hear your views on that, how we've actually adapted, adopted, curated, created, and moved with technology.
See, for us, every single thing has been changed, from the way the head of the departments moderated the parallel classroom teaching. That went online with the classwork there, the G Suite Apple classrooms we are using, the submissions of students as evidence of work coming up. Everything has literally taken a different shape now. From even the observations of teachers, which is done by the department heads and coordinators. It's literally walk into any class anytime, you know, and you can literally look at them and what's happening.
Teachers are on toes at all the time.
So students, teachers, the higher levels, everybody is literally on their toes to see, and they have the facility of to literally look at everything, from their evidence of work to the actual examinations that happen through the Eklavya interface for us, that portal, where we are able to monitor the student, the timely papers, everything changed.
So I think
but then everybody was able to cope.
Like you mentioned about GIIS exam portal, I think which again was an amazing news for us. I mean, adapting it towards reaching a level of modification. Nobody would have ever thought, when people were using Google Forms as a pattern of assessment and evaluation, we had moved to and switched to
we have
exam
heavily learned how to save the paper also in the whole concept of not writing in the papers and not marking the papers.
But then how was your experience, Radha ma'am, like shifting or settling our students with this SMAR trend, like something modifying, augmented? Of course, Ms. Ravneet shared one example of exams, class observations, moderations.
Let me share you some examples. As a school, let's say we go by the SMART, like for substitution. Earlier we had notebooks. Students would submit notebook and we would correct them at the end of every chapter or before the cyclic test. Now we started using Google Classroom. So students would do their work at home and submit it as a PDF on Google Classroom, and correction moved on. We substituted that notebook correction with correction on Google Classroom.
Using Apple pens and
correct. Similarly, let's say PTMs. Parents wanted to meet teachers. We initially had, every Wednesday stay back time where parents would take appointments and come to school. Now we switched over to, Zoom meetings. So we were not restricted only to that Wednesday or the PTM day. Whenever the teacher found a need to meet the parent or the parent felt like meeting the teacher, we didn't restrict ourselves to the Wednesday evenings. We were more flexible with the timings. Whenever the teacher was free and available and comfortable with both parties, then
I think
we set up Zoom meetings. So PTMs went online. So we modified that concept that way. And of course, our teaching got augmented, when we started using more videos. Scientific experiments were demonstrated using videos and during using other online methods. We had fun quizzes through Kahoot and other, this
apps,
thing. And
Apple apps or device
correct.
apps that we
so
started
that way,
using.
we've been really using technology in all areas.
So I think these were two again classic examples. Yours as HOD and as department had aligned towards academics observations, but then this also proved wherein we as a cohort,
as a
moved
school,
to these
yes.
online systems, GIIS, Apple Classrooms, monitoring what students are doing while they are on their screens.
Everything from teaching to communication to preparation, everything has changed.
Everything has changed. I think that's a good news. I think this is what we say when we talk about not just shifting and actually bringing in that paradigm shift from substitution to modification to redefine. We redefined our PTM portals. I think we even redefined the way we share results with our parents, like PDF report cards, or for example, our statistical summary tools, wherein at click of a button we have a live data that can be generated and shared with the parent.
Right.
I think that's
during PTMs we shared our 7S analysis with parents, so we could share our screen and show them the performance of their students.
Of the student over. So I think data analytics also is part of this SMAR changing, trends changing. So I think fantastic examples. And do you think students have taken it positively? They are happy with the change?
So they are happy with the change, that they have the system in their hand and there's no restriction for them to use it and misuse it in certain scenarios. But means they do miss the environment of the friends around them. So that's one thing which really cannot be replaced with. So that's one disadvantage of the whole thing, that they need to be with their friends, work as a team, learn from each other. So that is something which is kind of.
So I think, but collaboration, I'm sure has increased.
Happening. Means by the curriculum subject requirement, that collaboration happens. But the way they learn from each other on the other things, they are missing their friends. So they don't want to stay at home, is what.
The students should be moving around. Not fixed to a place, glaring at a device for a long time. So that's the part that we are missing, I think. When children don't come physically to school, they miss that physical contact, the face-to-face interaction with the teachers, their peers, in their own class and other
classrooms.
And how about teachers? How receptive teachers have been with these changes, with moving around with the devices and Apple Pens? Where do they keep this?
I think teachers are more or less comfortable using all our technology nowadays, but they do miss having a class full of students in front of them and observing them. When you're teaching, as a teacher, you observe your students and you gauge how much they have understood, or the interaction with the students. That is something that we really miss a lot.
But then otherwise they've taken it positively. I think for most of us,
it's easy for them. But the only thing is, when it comes to hybrid, catering to half of them sitting at home and half sitting in front, then it becomes a bit of challenge for them to whether should I be concentrating those who are in front of me, or should I be looking into my Zoom classroom to see who needs me. So if it's full-fledged this or that side, I think they were very comfortable. But then over the period of time, it's almost 2 years now. They have
adapted well.
So I think students are settled, teachers are settled. It's not just only hardware or the infrastructure, it's how we still communicate, and we've been receptive to these changes. These changes, with
they did realize that over a period of time, some things are easier for them. They did realize that some online things are things are finding
collaboration has changed. I mean, we've gone beyond borders, we've gone beyond classroom. We have gone to something that we could never fathom earlier. But then are we actually preparing them for the skills that they require for future? How are we gearing up, preparing them? See, we have a good infrastructure. We have teachers who are trained. We have students who are very well versed with use of basic technology. But the skills that they require for tomorrow, when they enter the job sector, or when they enter or try to take a career. So,
see, more or less, as we said, from 1 to 8, it's a compulsory subject for us. So we do give them the very basic hands-on learning to handle the devices and know the minimal they should be able to while going to the senior classes. Coming to the senior classes, we are strictly bound by the curriculum requirements. But in addition to that, the school did go ahead with giving them an exploration on the subjects like digital literacy, to bring it down to the students, to say that, okay, you have enough of technology in your hand, but do you really know how to handle it? The goods and bads, the moral and the ethical part of the same thing. So we did 2 years back, we implemented digital literacy as a proper subject to the middle school. So our
Right.
6, 7, 8 has it as a proper subject. Senior classes do have it in bits of pieces in their subjects. But other than that, I think ma'am can add, we have some add-on
workshops and boot
for them.
camps
Are conducted.
are conducted, on areas like artificial intelligence and robotics.
Yeah.
So these are some skills that are important for students to know. So these are added workshops and boot camps that we hold
That,
during the break time, where students can devote more time. So they intend 2 days of learning that particular subject, and they end it with a presentation
Yeah.
on what they have learned.
So
during
that
the
means
2
not
days.
just the mundane routine curriculum that we teach, like
Added on to that.
yeah, the
So-
forums like artificial intelligence
Correct.
camps.
The
or
curriculum
Internet
gives
of
them
Things.
the basic skills like Microsoft Office packages, web designing, and they introduce them to basics of programming and all that. To add on, there are students who are really interested in all these things, to
Beyond.
learn more, going beyond the curriculum.
And are there any languages also that we teach for coding or for programming or for higher level skills? I mean,
Yeah.
are we in tandem with the requirements that they may have in another 5 years
See,
from
we
now?
do
10
have a
years?
set of languages imposed to the senior classes by curriculum, but then other than that, we do have some student clubs which run open for everybody who doesn't opt to computer science as a subject or who's just keen to learn more.
Oh wow!
So to
Yeah.
have to get that facility of teaching to classes from 6 onwards to 12, anybody who wants to learn a type of language or a particular interface or a particular code, we have a proper established tech club, and there are other RWCC challenges which literally give them platform
like
of going
They
ahead
they
and
can-
learning. So
yeah.
we train them, we teach them, we train them, we give them workshop for that over a period of time, and then we make them compete each other so they know, okay, we did learn at the end of the day something.
So basically, it's not just that at senior level, if they are computer science students, they get to learn, but we do have an option as a tech club, student-run led clubs.
It's a student initiative. It's
Student
student-led
initiative. Wow,
club,
it's a student
yes.
initiative wherein students mentor, guide other students who may not have taken ICT or computer
Yes.
science or computer applications as their main subject. However, we ensure that if they are interested, they are not left behind.
They are not
They
left
join
behind.
that club and they get
I think
that
even in our
opportunity.
student council, we have the digital media and
There is a media
communication department.
Oh, okay.
So, and student, any event we organize, students are very willing to come up and help with the technical support for the event itself.
Oh,
So
okay.
for the recently held Real World Challenges convention, it was the digital and media students who helped me right from the beginning,
Okay.
starting from the registration forms to collating the the information,
Entries.
registrations that come in, collating the entries, and then the final valedictory event was entirely handled by the
And
students.
everything was online.
Everything was online.
That's
Everything was
amazing.
online.
From
Yeah.
last 2 years, all events also are online
Yeah,
for us.
even hackathon is online.
Even
all
hackathon.
our
So I
students.
think these are the skills we need for tomorrow. I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
handling the data, working with the data, or for example, initial collating of data also online and valedictory function online. So these are the skills they may need for future.
Definitely.
Because life is changing. I mean, we've seen those changes. I think we come
Other
from
than that,
time.
we are actually now thinking
Yeah.
of bringing digital society as a subject to the senior most classes.
Okay,
If the
that's
school
great.
proceeds with that, then
And how will that help? Because you mentioned about that means two current trends.
yeah,
Moving with current trends, two subjects. One you said was digital
digital literacy. That's for the middle
Middle
school.
school.
It's a Cambridge curriculum, which is
and
imposed
preparing
like
them
that.
for
Yeah.
handling digital data, digital skills, and ethically.
Ethically, yes.
And
to
how
use
will
this?
this digital
This is
society
actually a step up on the same subject for
Okay.
IBDP curriculum, which is digital society. It more talks about how does society get impacted with technology. So all the goods and bads about the same,
Okay.
and how to proceed with do's and don'ts
Ah,
of technology. So it's a very it's actually a subject used to exist as an ITJS. It's being converted to digital society from next year, and the school is looking into proceeding with it.
proceeding. So I think yes. So not just at the student level, teacher level, at the management
Management
level
level
also. I
also,
think
they are
leadership
going
team
into-
also keeps striving to bring in new subjects, move ahead
Yeah.
with current times. Any new subject introduced by CBSE or by Cambridge or by IBDP, we ensure that it is introduced in the school. The students get the required skill and they are then within the prescribed curriculum time, they get to learn those skills. I think that's a very good part, that during our annual reviews, academic reviews, we ensure and we see what next,
What
what
next?
else can we provide to what is existing. I think
Yeah.
that's the beauty of the school, of the campus and the organization, that
Yes.
always, keeping ahead or at least keeping in pace with the changing educational trends and with the policy of nothing or no student left behind, no subject left untaught. I think
Yes.
that's a very good thing. But do you think like that students, have this tendency, like when no one's watching, they've misused the devices, because now everyone is with a device. So
Yeah.
Yeah, they are
How do
curious with
we-
the things, so
Correct.
they
Yeah.
do explore stuff.
yeah.
But then when it comes to the classrooms, and when it means as such, the classrooms are, the content is developed in a way that they are kept engaged basically.
Okay.
So yes, there is a check. When it comes to examinations, there is a check. When we came to competitions or events like, let's say, practical examination of students being conducted online for computer science, we literally went to the technology, a screen recording to be provided for us. That if you change your
Oh.
screen, that it's gone for you. Yes.
So I think
So there
yeah.
are ways, yes, they are
So
restricted.
AI proctoring, you said, was one way
One
to
way.
ensure the academic integrity of exam is
Yes.
maintained, sanctity of exam is maintained as far as online examination was concerned.
Yes.
But otherwise also, like when no one's watching, they have this tendency to
to
do.
play
So how
games.
do we groom our, how are we grooming our students with the ethical use
This
of
is
the
what
device?
digital literacy is actually
Digital,
trying to
yeah.
tell them.
Digital literacy is about, creating this awareness among students on proper use of their devices. So we can't do away with devices anymore. We can't say we're going to take away the device. The device is now a part of our life. So we have to create that awareness on the best use of
Use.
these technology. So cyber safety and cyber wellness, these are part of our curriculum.
Okay.
I think even the board syllabus prescribes these as a part of the syllabus.
Yes.
Okay.
So apart from that, our school, the annual GIIS project, we have the cyber wellness project.
Okay.
So that the team has created a repository of a lot of videos and quizzes that create awareness on cyber wellness.
Okay.
So in the middle school and the primary, we've run these videos and this program during the tutor period. So
I see.
so that's when the class teacher interacts with her students every day. So she uses that time to run these videos to create that awareness among students and also tell them about the consequences of breaking the rules.
I think that is really
Yes.
important. I mean, making them aware of
Yeah.
why we shouldn't do what we are
Correct.
trying to do and what will happen if we
Happen,
do
yeah.
it. So
Yes.
making and laying down
So
that
curriculum
norms.
has components like, cyber laws. So you really need to take them through it to say that, okay, this is literally not acceptable from our side. From other than that means there are ways in which they try to play games. So we try to divert them to make games rather than playing games. So
I think that is nice.
diverting their interest
Making
to
games.
something.
How
Yes.
does that happen? Making of
So
games.
this is what all the tech club handles, and the other clubs are there to work with. That we
Okay.
do give them a platform. Okay, you want to make a game, you submit and you compete with others and come with it. So making apps, making games, and making contents is what they compete for.
Okay.
So literally giving them, let's say, a 10-day period to say that we train you, we teach you, you explore a bit more, and then you come and then you compete and then give us.
Amazing. They make apps.
They make apps.
Wow.
Yes.
Can you name one or two apps that they've made and they've
Okay,
those
one
have-
single hackathon brings us around 100 apps together for
Oh
us,
my
rather than
goodness.
giving
So,
you one or two
I
of them.
think our students are becoming
yes,
and they can
yes.
become entrepreneurs.
Recently also
Yeah.
they took participation in that AWS coding competition. So it was
Okay.
open for the entire school. Anybody can participate and submit that.
Wow.
So there are coding challenges, there is an hour of code. So we're literally taking them, okay, if you want to explore technology, you do it in the right way and then you learn
I
from
think
it.
I think
that's
one
that's
recent app I
fantastic.
remember this year's is that the one that went for the Ignite challenge where they've tried to connect university students.
Yes.
Okay.
So
That's nice.
students going to a new city, so it helps connect students together, students belonging to the same
Yeah.
place together. So they have that support.
Community
the peer
support when you
support.
go to a new place.
Oh my God, this is
So,
so
this is
amazing
nice.
to hear. Students making those apps and those apps actually being used
Being
by
used.
others.
Yes.
I think fantastic. And when we say SMAR, I think this is what it entails. not just substituting, modifying, we are redefining. We are
Yeah.
redefining that, our students are now budding entrepreneurs ready to take up challenges that they may face 5 years from now. And I am now getting excited that how do we actually make an
It's a win-win for us, because those who are organizing and teaching are also students, and those who are participating are also students, so you just need to be there to
so
communicate
it's peer
between
learning, you mean
it's
to say?
student initiative. Everything comes as a student initiative. So seniors only teach the junior students, and then you
Wow.
make them compete, you make them win, you give them e-certificates then, so everything is digital for us.
So preparing them,
Yes, sir.
tomorrow when they join these offices or they go to universities, I
Because-
think they are ready to face the challenges
The
of
real world, yes.
beyond
Yes.
school life,
Yeah.
real world. So I think that's what real world challenges convention is all about.
yes.
So which are the other activities that you conducted? One, like Ms. Ravneet mentioned, was on hackathon, and she said nearly 100 and more
Every
than
year
100
we
apps
get more than
every
100
year.
apps together.
It's
Yes.
really amazing. And how does our real world challenges convention then help? I mean, are there any technological related events also covered?
Yeah, we cover a wide range of events, about 15 competitions in real
Okay.
world challenges, and among them the technology based events are most popular.
Oh,
Like
okay.
the Appnovation is one where students create apps,
Okay.
and we have an ads app where students create movies,
Oh.
video, that's all about video making.
Video making.
And this year we introduced an e-book making competition, and the theme was, to celebrate two decades of GIS.
Wow.
So it was like making an e-book and submitting it, and I think these
So
are
I
the
think
few-
I mean, if I put it this way, GIS is actually in the right direction of redefining the education or redefining the trends with integration of technology.
Yes.
Both hardware as software. Hardware was provided, and then I think software, you people
Yeah,
as
of course.
leading educators are, working towards bringing in these skills at
School
middle
has
school.
ensured that every teacher has the required technology. School has ensured that every teacher is well trained to do that. They have literally provided
Evolved.
everything they needed.
So do you see any gaps that you need to bridge when students move from primary to middle school or from middle school to high school? Are there any gaps, or you think that every upcoming batch of students is well versed, well trained?
I think they are very well versed. It's pretty smooth. The primary to middle school transition is also pretty smooth.
Oh, from primary to middle school. You've
And
not
I
seen
think
any
not,
challenges?
any major challenge as such.
Hmm.
And I think from middle school to secondary also is
No, if we are talking about technological part of it as a jump, I think we really have the devices also in a way that the flow goes,
yeah,
who can handle what.
correct.
So when
Okay.
you come
How
to
the-
9th standard, you
Huh.
convert to laptops from
Mm.
iPads. Until then, we literally keep them to the screens,
iPads,
which is
okay.
more on the more on the read side rather
Yeah.
than the create side for us. So yes, even the devices are as per the requirement. Even the curriculum is framed as per the requirement. And we literally revamped all the curriculum when we moved to the Smart Campus. So we literally changed the operating systems for us as per the devices requirements. We changed the
Yeah.
entire teaching curriculum also as per the requirement of the maths.
Oh, so now
So-
we are a total Mac school?
Yes.
Apple
school.
Apple school. Okay, so I think gearing towards becoming an Apple distinguished school.
Yeah.
And I think teachers are Apple trained teachers with Apple badges.
All
So
teachers are Apple.
all teachers are Apple trained. So I think that's fantastic to see. I mean, I keep bringing in the fact that we need to have, as our chairman envisions and has been mentioning, that we're not just looking at being a smart school, but a set of smart teachers with set of smart students. And of
Smart
course, when we say smart, we repeatedly keep saying students who've moved from substitution to modification to augmentation
Yeah.
to these stages of now redefinition. Redefining. So I think what next, if I were to ask you as these as these leading educators, what do you think is that can be brought in, as a school at a classroom level for students?
See, we don't, one thing is for sure that even if it goes to normal scenarios after this COVID, we are not going back to the way we were working.
The conventional,
Yes,
traditional
we are not
physical
going back.
classrooms.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that
because
I can
we
see,
find
yeah.
it very, very effective, very engaging, and students have really, really learned a lot from it. So that's one thing for sure, that we will be more on the content development. we'll find different ways of teaching only. So I think we were discussing
Distance
about
learning is
the
going to
distance
become
learning
the
is
open
what we will,
classrooms,
open
and there's a trend
classrooms,
of MOOCs
flipped
and
classrooms,
flipped
all
classrooms.
this.
And parallelly, I think we should focus on ethical use of
Yes.
all
Yeah,
the devices.
I think that is
and
what. So, do you
so-
have? Do you think there's any kind of roadmap in plan or in succession or in times to come?
See, most of our devices are school devices. They are registered school devices. They are monitored devices actually. So the students are aware of, even if they actually explore anything, then they are being watched.
So, are there
that
any
literally puts a
filters or
concern. There are
blockers?
definitely filters and
Ah.
blockers. But then, yeah, some of the students do know how to bypass them.
The students are students, but
They're
then
students and they're smart students.
smart
That's-
students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, school actually has a proper technical help support for us, which keeps an eye on every single device. If required, we do go and explore that whether it was misused or not. But
Okay.
other than that, as a futuristic plan, I think we were discussing more on we should have now more on a VR or AR kind of labs for
yeah,
us.
yes.
Yeah.
So that can be added on.
So I think that's a good initiative. Moving ahead with having AR VR experience labs
Experience
will
labs.
totally kind of move us to another,
Yeah.
another
Level.
ahead the curve,
Yeah.
or level up our
Yes.
teaching and learning. I think both, and I'm sure that since we are an organization that actually believes in looking ahead, forward thinkers.
Yeah.
So looking ahead of the time and always trying to go and towards an exponential growth curve. I'm sure maybe another 6 months and 1 year time is not too far. We'll have a ready
VR,
AR,
yeah.
experience to give
Actually,
to
all
our
IT
students.
teachers were given an experience of an AR VR lab by school. So
Yeah.
we have walked into that and we have seen it, and then we really
Yes.
find it really, really
Yeah.
impressive.
I think that will also change the way we teach
Every subject.
Every subject.
We actually saw a bio class there where you can literally pick your body parts and then
Yeah.
see them. So yeah, something of that kind will really help the students.
I'm sure, because I was also a part of that, and I'm sure school is exploring to have that very soon. So that's why I said maybe not more than more than 6 months or 1
Yeah.
year we'll have. And as a coordinator, Ms. Radha, have you ever come across a case where there has been a severe breach of conduct related to technology or a device? And if you have, then what proactive steps or what steps have been taken?
See, as I said, we educate our students on cyber wellness, cyber safety, cyber security. And if at all there is a breach, there has been 1 or 2 minor cases. I won't say severe case, 1 or 2 minor cases of kids bullying others online, let's say in a chat group or something. So in such cases, we have spoken to the child. We normally give a couple of warnings, and then if the habit prevails, persists, and then we kind of give him counseling, take him to the counselor, and give him counseling. We speak to the parents, so it's counseling from all angles, so the child understand what he's done wrong.
Okay.
And if the problem still persists, then we take really severe action from the school side.
So which is communicated to
Which
the
is
parents,
communicated, yes.
everybody in advance.
Yes.
School has a written policy on use and misuse
Yeah.
of the devices
Digital
provided to the
devices,
students. Yes.
yeah.
So
And
are
having
very,
student
very-
service center to deal with all this has been helpful in terms of
very much. It's a good team, and it's a big team which literally is on toes all the day. So from the issues of like small Wi-Fi issue or password issue or screen not responding issue to the actual software downloads, everything is catered by them.
So I mean, practically teachers are not burdened with that
Teachers
aspect.
are not burdened with the
It's-
hardware side of the devices. They are only the IT teaching team is only towards the teaching side. So,
So
you
the
literally have a
dedicated student
dedicated
service
department.
center has been
Yes.
has
A big
actually
boon,
big
actually.
boon,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I think I'm sure for students as well as parents, anybody walking in also knows that there's one stop
yes
place where the
Yes,
person
yes.
can go and get all the queries related to this
Yes.
handled and answered. So any kind of, since we as a forward thinking school always think about continuous professional development, I mean, Ms. Ravneet as department head,
Yeah.
do you think that we are doing something in that direction, that our CPD in this field for teachers is done or maintained uniformly?
See, as per the requirement of all the teachers, the basic technological skills, when the devices were provided, actually the management ensured that they were trained. Very well trained, and straight from the Apple people, So they were trained, they were given the devices, they were trained to how to develop the content also.
Content. Okay.
And other than that, the school has TIMI for CPO kind of content development
Trainers,
sites where
huh.
we have professional material available for them, and it's quite helpful. And then teachers, there are some mandatory modules, so they have to do it.
Okay.
And other than that, that's a plethora of long list of content listed there. So you can subjective, common knowledge, general knowledge, everything, they can just download and keep proceeding in that.
So I think TIMI
Yes,
and
so-
Percipio have also been
Yes.
really a good resource, and some
Very
of
good
our
resource
teachers
for them.
themselves have created content on
Yeah.
it. So I
Yes,
think
yes.
that also was a redefinition wherein
Definitely.
we as teachers moved to becoming content creators,
Content
and
creators.
achievement, because we have experience of being in classes. We know what our students
Exactly.
really want, and how do we train our teachers so that they can deliver what our students really need. But you bring this up during your department meetings, or you share some best practices. Does that happen?
Definitely. The department, by the department meeting definitions, also has a knowledge sharing session, and then
Okay.
the details of literally what's new, what you have encountered, what is to be done, everything is discussed there. And yes, content development goes in bits and pieces as parts as required as per the curriculum also, and then allocation of the teachers also. But then it's a common platform for the department. So yes, the discussion happens and then they work together. So if Radha ma'am has developed some content, then we share it and then we add on to it. So basically, it's just an improvement on the content which is there, an add on, and then it improves with them.
Okay.
And other than that, subjectively, the teachers are always trained as per the curriculum requirement by the management side.
Okay,
So they
so
are
that means,
always
any changes with our curriculum related
Definitely
to
has to
CBSE,
be.
Cambridge, or IB,
They are trained.
they are also trained.
They
So
are
that
trained.
part is also taken care of
Definitely.
on one
Yes.
side. And Ms. Radha, you being a quality coordinator and you worked with Global Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So there, how do you place technology when you work for GCIE initiatives?
GCI, Global Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Under that aegis, we organize all the boot camps and workshops.
Oh, okay.
So our artificial intelligence workshop, robotics workshop, then Internet of Things workshop, all of these are organized under that umbrella.
So technology
And
is
entrepreneurship
well integrated.
boot camp also. And all these are mostly technology based. And last 2 years, of course, everything is happening online over Zoom.
Online. And I think we do offer exposure to our students in terms of external examination and competitions as well,
Yeah.
like Olympiads,
Yes.
Cyber Olympiads.
Yes.
And I think recently ICDL challenge.
ICDL challenge.
Yeah, would
the
you throw some light on
There's
that?
a digital literacy challenge where
Okay.
students were tested. They had to go through 2 or 3 rounds of testing on their digital skills.
Okay.
So I think one of our students, Ninad from 11th standard, he was one of the winners of the competition.
At Asia Pacific level.
Yeah.
So I think, not just, technology in classroom, not just a curriculum, not just student initiatives, it's everywhere. It's at GCIE level, it's at external exam level, it is at assessment level. So I think if I were to sum it up, it's integrated into teaching, learning and assessment practices.
Yes.
Right,
Yes,
because
correct.
learning now is not just limited to classroom teaching. When we say learning is holistic. That's what we believe at GIIS. Our 9 GEMS model, which brings in the holistic learning, ensures that students are not academically oriented, aligned, but they are also well adapted to usage of technology. And I think as educators, as department head, as quality coordinator, and head of GCIE, I think we are kind of gearing our students in the right
Yes.
direction. I
Yes.
mean, ensuring that they are actually the smart students. Students,
We are confident with that.
so when we say that the series is aimed at explore, adapt, impact, we explored, we adapted, we made an
We are
impact,
making-
and we are making an impact. And it's all about choices and voices. Choices of students, voices of teachers. And I think it has blended really well to achieve our goal.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would say that.
Yes.
Yeah. So with this, we come to an end of today's episode. Thank you so much, Ms. Ravneet.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Radha. Thank you to all our viewers who took out time from their busy schedule to come and attend this session today to learn and to know more about how we are gearing towards making our students very smart. Do look out for our next episode, wherein we meet our school counselors to talk about and to discuss how our school counselors are ensuring that our students are digitally well adapted and their digital well-being is taken care of. Till then, have a great day. Thank you and bye-bye.